Call to order. Good evening. I call this meeting of the Athletics, Arts, Music, and Extracurricular Activities Subcommittee to order. This meeting is being held at the George M. Rom Little Theater at Brockton High School on Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 at 6 p.m. This meeting is being broadcast and accessible to the public on Comcast Channel 8 and Channel 107 in UHD, and is also available online via www.youtube.com/TheBrocktonChannels. This is an open meeting of a public body. All persons in attendance are advised that this meeting is being recorded. Anyone wishing to record must notify the chair at this time. This meeting has been posted in accordance with the Massachusetts Open Meeting Law. At this time, I will establish a quorum, and I will call the roll. Ms. Santeo.
Here.
Ms. Oliver.
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez. And myself, Mr. Pina, is here. Seeing that there is a quorum, I would first like to make a statement. Before we begin our first presentation, I want to take this moment to frame why this subcommittee and its work really matters. Education has never been just about what happens between a desk and a test. The strength of a school system is measured not only by academics, but by the opportunities it gives young people to discover who they are and what they're capable of becoming. For many students, it's the first time they pick up an instrument, step onto a stage, wear a uniform, or commit themselves to something bigger than themselves. That's where confidence is built. That's where discipline takes hold. That's where pride in one's work and in one's school begins. Programs in music, the arts, athletics, the JROTC, and the extracurricular activities don't sit on the sideline of education. They are part of its foundation. They teach responsibility, teamwork, leadership, and perseverance in ways that no textbook alone ever could. And some students, these programs are not just an opportunity, they are the reason they stay engaged, the reason they show up, the reason they succeed. So as we go forward through tonight's agenda, the focus here is simple. Are we doing enough to give every student access to these opportunities? And if not, what are we going to do about that? With that, we'll move into our first presentation, and that will be the music, Ms. Desmond. I'm sorry, I should have said, our first item in the agenda is the music overview presented by Rebecca Desmond, Director of Music K through 12.
Good evening, everyone. So I wanted to first give you an overview of all of the different things our performing ensembles have done this year between middle school and high school, and then there's a couple of things that we've done as a faculty that we'll get to. So first things first, we started this year with our marching band show. Their show was Signature Sounds, and it showcased the music of Earth, Wind, and Fire, Lady Gaga, Elton John, and Queen. We got to attend UMass Band Day for the first time this year, which was really, really great. And our band boosters, thank you to those who are here, they put on a really amazing spread, and they fed our kids all day long. And it's a really cool experience. It's just student musicians from end zone to end zone, and just a wall of sound at halftime. And then our kids got to stay and see the post-game show, and they got to see the entire UMass show. So it was a really special experience for them. Around the holidays, the BHS Senior Jazz Band traveled over to the Kennedy, and they got to do a special concert for the Kennedy students. Their last song they performed was All I Want for Christmas Is You, and the entire Kennedy school sang along with them. It was really, really a special moment. Harmonics this year, which was primarily student-run, they got to compete at the Bay State Show Choir Festival at Oliver Ames in the fall, and then they went to the Central Mass Show Choir Festival. The students picked out the music. They brought in a choreographer to work with them, and they really they took that in their own hands, and I couldn't be prouder of the work that they did this year. We also had the West Band. They went and they performed in the Junior South Shore Band Festival in February down in Scituate. The Brockton High Concert Choir performed with the Handel and Haydn Society, along with Framingham High School and Silver Lake Regional High School singers. We got to go to the Josiah Quincy School in Cambridge and perform with this professional orchestra, which was really a lot of fun for them. Moving into February, no, this was March because of the snow. Our senior and junior jazz bands competed at MAJE. The junior jazz won a silver, and senior jazz earned a gold. And senior jazz has been invited to perform at the Hatch Shell in Boston on May 3rd. We don't have a time yet. Once we know what time that's going to be, we'll share it with everybody. So if you're interested in going out and seeing them perform, you'll be able to. On March 28th, we had 4 of our ensembles compete in the MICA festivals. We had the Brockton High Wind Ensemble, which received a gold medal, the concert band, which is a silver medal, and then we had 2 of our middle school choirs, both South and Ashfield, who went and performed, and they both received silver medals at those competitions. And then again, we always have students that go and they participate in junior district, senior district, and all-state. The junior district took place in Sharon in March. Senior district took place in January in New Bedford, and all-state festival was just a couple weeks ago out in Worcester. This is a new program that we got to bring to Brockton this year, which was really, really incredible. The New Bedford Symphony Orchestra puts together this year it was the Currents in Concert program, and what they do is they come in and they do an assembly for students. For this, it was our 4th grade. And then those students receive an arts integrated science lesson in their classrooms. And then to the end of the program is a young person's concert. And this year, I learned something new. I didn't know that this actually happened. It was all about this. It was a shipping container full of bath toys that fell into the ocean in 1992. And it became a study in oceanography, and because these bath toys started showing up on coastlines all over the world, so it was helping them to study the currents. So what the New Bedford Symphony educational program did is they selected all of these musical works, and they tied that in with the science about oceanography, which I can't remember all the words that they used, but there was a lot of vocabulary about science. And then students got to create, and they were studying how there were different layers to the ocean and how layers to music kind of connected to that. So it was really, really cool. And this is the first time New Bedford Symphony came to us to put on this concert. So we bussed all the 4th graders here on March 4th, and they got to see this concert done by the New Bedford Symphony, which is really cool. And you can't really see it, but somewhere up there's a picture of Sir Wax-a-Lot. I think that was his name. It was this big rubber ducky that went around to all of the elementary schools. And you can see, like, over on the left-hand side, those are students at the George School, and they were working with the model of creating waves in the ocean, and then the teacher would go and they would play that on their violin, which was really, really cool. So that's a new program this year, hoping to bring it back next year. We did a lot of professional development with music teachers. The first one that we did was surrounded the culturally responsive teaching, and we took some time during one of our in-services to kind of talk about what are we already doing in our classrooms that is culturally responsive teaching, and then what areas do we have for growth to make sure our students are getting the best music education they can. A lot of discussions around repertoire selections and how we are selecting repertoire that is, giving students windows, mirrors, sliding glass doors. How are our students connecting with the music that we're selecting? And that's K through 12. Not just performing ensembles, but what music are we using in all of our classrooms that's giving all of our students that opportunity to learn. We've started working on some scope and sequence documents for K through 12 to make sure that we can really align our curriculum and so that everybody's meeting the same benchmarks. With so many schools, I know it's a struggle probably for every department, but just making sure that students are hitting those same benchmarks in every grade level. We tried something new this year. We did some analyzing of student work. So our middle school teachers went and looked at our all-city concerts, and they analyzed those recordings with music in front of them, and they were able to provide each other feedback for places that could be worked on, different ideas for how you can instruct certain things, different rehearsal techniques. So it was a really great way to kind of frame that instructional conversation. And then this last one, the elementary teachers just finished this. They picked out 3 books this year that they were going to focus units on for elementary. So they picked out Trombone Shorty, Playing at the Border, which is a story of Yo-Yo Ma, and then Peace Train, which is a song that's written by Cat Stevens. And it was one of the things that's really important to me is how do we bring literacy into our classrooms? How do we support that literacy? And creating these units of study for our youngest students that are centered around literature, that get them excited about reading and working with that. And it's teaching our core concepts anyway. So those are professional development. And then last little bit, other news, before I forget, we have 2 more concerts left this year. The first one is tomorrow night. It's our jazz concert, and it's our middle through high school jazz concert. It's in the auditorium, starts at 7 o'clock. And then our last concert of the year is the Pops concert, and that's on May 27th at 7 o'clock. So we hope to see everybody there. Couple of the things that we did this year, we started noticing that our student leadership needed more support. So we brought in Cami Tadoldi. She's in the bottom left-hand corner, and she did a training with all of our student leaders in August. And it's a training, so she trained the staff and the students at the same time. So it's a training that the staff can continue every single year. And it's just making sure that we're putting the correct supports in place to build those leadership skills in students and to make sure that they are, that we have successful student leaders. We were able to add a full-time music teacher up at the high school this year, which has been incredible. So that gave us more opportunity to provide more electives for students like music and media and American pop music. And then we were also able to add, along with art and phys ed and health, unified classes for our life skills students at the high school. So now those students have access to all of their electives as well. We are getting new digital pianos from both the West and Baker that is being donated by the Janasic Foundation. We got new xylophones, metallophones, glockenspiels, and mallets for the Arnone, again donated by the Janasic Foundation. Next year, we're looking to really dig into our ukulele curriculum at the middle schools because everybody has ukuleles now, and kind of figuring out exactly what we want that to look like in all of those classrooms. And then the part that I know you guys all gonna have questions for, instrumental. Our instrumental program was fully middle school this year. So that meant that we had some 5th graders who were moving up to 6th grade. We also had some 6th graders who started new this year. But we have lessons for almost all of our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade instrumental students, which is something that we haven't been able to do before. So we did shift out of elementary. We no longer have the before school program. We found that it was very challenging for families to make that program work. Our numbers were very low, and it was a waste of our resources to have our teachers driving around the city instead of in one school teaching lessons to the most students that we could. So that's how we shifted it for this year. And that's the end of my slides. So before we go on, Sarah and I have a slide together, but I figured I would see if you guys had any questions first.
Thank you. I'll open it up to Oliver.
Thank you. It's mind-blowing, everything that you've been doing throughout the district, because a majority of those things I was not aware of. And I do appreciate the hard working that you and your team has been doing to spread music throughout the city, throughout every elementary, middle school, because majority of stuff you posted, I didn't even know. I don't think majority of us knew that's been happening, which is very fundamental that we have music in every grade possible. because it supports their development, right? Academically, emotionally, socially. And by having, it improves our language, reading skills, it supports early math concept, and even like implementing like science with that. And this is how we make younger students love music, to find other ways they can participate in music and put science into it. And it just open up their mind and basically get them more involved in the music department. I know that I already have spoken to you. I spoke to Ms. Spalding regarding this matter. Like, what are we doing? I know that it's too early to get the numbers of students that was started in fourth graders compared to sixth graders. That's something that I really, really want that data, to see the numbers, to see if it's something that we as school committee might have to vote on to basically bring it back to fourth grade. Because if the numbers is depleting and we keep seeing all our students graduating and we're not bringing more students after sixth and seventh grade to the high school, we're going to destroy music department. It's going to deplete, and it's something that we value so much because it brings so much award. It's basically putting Brockton on the map. I know we have our sports, but in reality, music department and drama is putting Brockton back on the map. And it's something that we need to value, respect, and basically see how we can support it to bring it back in full force. I don't not want to see it when I go see the play or go see music that our students, it's not as many as was a few years ago. I want to have a full band. I want to have more students involved in music. I want them to pick instruments. I want them to learn how to sing, participate in drama, because it improves their self-esteem. It improves a lot of students that are getting bullied, to basically have a safe place. They can find friends. They can build a family. I know that as a band mom, my child found a family here. And her picking up an instrument when she was bullied in elementary saved her. And I think this is why it's very important that we have music starting very early, because this is where our students find something to really enjoy and love and appreciate, the art. So I think it's something we definitely have to work in, see how we can bring it back to elementary.
And I know Dr. Spalding and I have worked on this. We have a model. We're kind of at a standstill with it right now because we have a middle school scheduling committee that is working, and they're looking at the middle school schedule. And since we don't know what the middle school schedule is going to look like next year, we don't know if the middle school schedule will work with the elementary schedule. So there's that piece of it. There's also, in order to have fifth grade back in elementary, we would need to add a full-time teacher, because we need another full-time traveling elementary teacher. Right now, we have about 28 classes being covered by 3 of our instrumental staff in the city. So there's a staffing issue, there's a scheduling. It's just we don't know yet what it's going to look like next year. I would love to have it back in elementary school, but there's some hurdles to get us there.
Doing 28 classes?
So they teach 4 days they're full-time at their middle schools,
Okay.
and then 1 day a week each of those 3 people goes out and they cover elementary general music classes at an elementary school, and then they go back to their schools for band. So they are able to have band every single day, but we didn't have enough teachers to cover all of the classes because our elementaries have grown.
They have grown. So
They
do
have
we
grown.
have an instructor in every middle school currently?
Yes.
We do? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Centeo?
I'm not a band mom, but I
It's
do
okay.
miss seeing the little kids walking around with the instrument that was heavy. I would like for us to bring the back in the elementary. But one thing, it's not even a question, I just want to say I appreciate is that we are bringing some cultural responsive teaching. It's nice for us for the students too, to connect, but also to hear different sounds. So I appreciate that as staff members, you guys are bringing that sound. So thank you.
I got a few questions for you. Are there barriers such as like instrument access, transportation, or scheduling that prevent further or increased participation?
I will say that we have a good amount of scholarship instruments. A lot of our scholarship instruments are rare instruments, and they are focused at the high school, like instruments like the tuba or oboes, bassoons, things like that that are incredibly expensive and something that students wouldn't normally start until they're a little bit older. We need a better way as a music department of being able to identify those students that are good candidates for scholarship instruments as beginners. A lot of it happens right now as like word of mouth, and that's how it's always worked. So whenever a student asks for an instrument is there and an instrument is available for that student to use. But there is definitely room for growth for us, because we're only able to help those students that we know need help. How many students and families are not coming forward that we don't know about? So that is something, and I started looking into it last year and trying to figure out exactly how to kind of cross that bridge and barrier, and to help families be able to express a need so that we can help to fill that. So we're working on it. It's definitely a place that we're not as good as I would like to be.
Okay. If you wanted to increase, you said that you're having an issue with the elementary. So if you wanted to increase the elementary by, like, say, 25%, what would be the first constraint we would hit? Like, something that we could do to improve that?
What can you, by
So if
25%, what do you
if
mean?
there's something that's holding you back, and you're trying to, like Ms. Oliver was saying, to have an increased number of students be involved, so that we can build a program so that when they get up to high school, so you got to start early. So if we want to get, say, 25% more of the student population involved with music, what would be one of the biggest constraints that is preventing you from doing that?
I can hear them over here. You all have Irish whispers. Scheduling is the toughest piece for us right now.
So by scheduling, do you mean an additional teacher, or?
An additional teacher, but how the middle school and the elementary school schedules work together. The plan that we have worked out is that students would be able to essentially trade a music for a music. So instead of taking general music, students would choose to play an instrument instead. And just being able to have teachers in the schools during those times, but also have it work with the middle school schedules like that. The staffing is an issue, but the biggest barrier right now is the not knowing of what the schedule is going to look like for middle school. And I know they're working on it, and they'll have it ready, but it's a process.
So it sounds like you need more music teachers as well.
I would love more music teachers. All the music teachers you can.
Are there any partnerships in the community, grants, or local organizations we're not currently leveraging that you know of?
I feel like I'd have to research that and get back to you to give you an honest answer. We've had some luck with the Music Drives Us, which is the Ernie Bach grant. I know East Middle School was able to get a grant from them last year. One of my teachers was able to get 6 bass guitars donated this year. I cannot remember who donated them. We worked at the Genesic Foundation. They're new, and they've done a really great job being able to donate some things to us and replace instruments that need to be replaced. I know that there's more out there, and that's one of those things that I'll try to work on more next year, because in order to fund a music department, you need to go beyond what you're given in your budget. There is no school department out there that can completely fund a music department. So it's on my list of things to do.
And do you currently have any fundraising efforts on the outside of your department?
We have, our boosters, they fundraise. I don't know what they have currently going on, but I know they do some fundraising. And then there are some student fundraisers that happen within the school year. But beyond that, not too much.
Anybody else have any further questions? Yep, go ahead, Ms. Oliver.
Just a follow up and a shout out to the band booster. Some of them are here in the audience, but definitely somebody coming new here. I I appreciate them. They are hardworking parents, and some of them have been here for years. And the work they do at the football games and different events, and bringing money in for the music department, it's to be applauded. I think they're doing a great job. I appreciate each one of them when I go to the meetings and just hear all the ideas they have and how welcoming it is. We need to have more parents join, but definitely they do an amazing job, especially raising money for our students. And I do appreciate them as a parent too.
Just one more question. Obviously, I like the literacy part. I know who probably had a hand in that, but I think it's important to also identify that a lot of these positions, these band instruments that they play, you are actually scholarship positions where you can go to college for these positions. I had a good friend that actually, a few of them that went to college on scholarships that played in the Brockton band and went in UMass Amherst and some other schools, but it's also, like I had mentioned in the beginning, it's really important, and that's why I think we want to ensure that every opportunity is given to kids. You never know where there's a Beethoven or a Mozart or Tony Rodriguez, I guess.
We need to get you some more modern musicians.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I'm a country music guy, so I don't think that would work here. But Tony, go ahead.
Funny. One of the this is just educational for the subcommittee. We are in budget season, and one of the key components of when we do our budgets actually presented to us. One thing that we all need to realize is that where there's a need, it lies on this body. It's just a motion, second, and a vote, and that's it. If we're on from that position, so that's how important it is, and this is why subcommittees is drafted up. Furthermore, what is the conditions of? I know we've talked about this before with our music instruments, because a little birdie told me that there was going to be a donation of some instruments to the district.
Oh, yes.
I'm not sure if you know that, but I just broke it, so.
I think I know the little birdie.
I was in San Antonio and heard that, so.
Yeah, so it's in the works. There are instruments at Southeastern. They've just been sitting there collecting dust for years, and they would like the storage space back, and I like free instruments. So I think hopefully that will be coming to you guys soon. We went over there on Friday and we took a look at the instruments. There's flutes, clarinets, oboes, saxophones, trumpets, trombones, 3 drum sets. Yes, nice drum sets too.
Yeah.
So hopefully, and we'll get those in here by the end, and all really great quality, barely used. So those, we're gonna pick those up. I have a feeling it's gonna go in the back of my minivan. And then we'll get those out probably to middle schools by the end of the year so that they can be used next year.
Awesome, thank you. Anybody else?
On a yearly basis, what is your request for music instruments? Is there any data of like what you request or what you need, or is it just?
Oh, to purchase music instruments? I have not purchased any since I became director of music. We've had quite a bit of donations. I have enough flutes for an army, so no more flutes. But we've been very fortunate. The community, I get a lot of phone calls, people bringing in instruments that they no longer use. So right now we're okay. We do need to start looking at replacing some of our scholarship instruments and things like that. They're just aging. They've been used. We have like a lot of older Barry saxophones and tenor saxophones. things that they've been loved. But that's something I know that we've been working on, taking a look at the inventory, which is challenging because we never actually have our entire inventory because there's always instruments out to students. But taking a look at like what there is and the plan for kind of starting to figure out how to replace them, whether it's through requesting budget funds or working with foundations for grants.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Oliver.
Do we still work with one of the music store in Brockton for like rentals and stuff?
We work with K&C, and they are in Sharon now. I think they just moved.
Is that the one that was in Westgate Mall, or like that area?
No, you're Central Music. We don't have a direct affiliation with Central Music.
Okay. I think that's because I originally had rental the saxophone, then I ended up purchasing it, but I don't know if we were still affiliated or use any of the music stores. Like
No,
if they could give us a special rate or anything to like for students to rent, if they still do that or not.
Yep. So we work with K&C right now is the company that we work with for student rentals.
And they're located in Sharon.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ms. Desmond. Next, we will have the arts overview presented by Sarah Richards, Director of Art K through 12. Ms. Richards, you have the floor.
Hang on your own. No. So before I leave,
We have a slide together. Because we work very well together, good partners.
so against probably what was our better judgment this year, we applied for a grant through DESE, and it's the Arts and Cultural Vitality Grant. And it's a 3-year process. We're in our first year. We're on phase 1, and phase 1 is the self-assessment of our arts program, and it just helps us take a look at overall in all of our programs, how are we doing? What are we doing well? Where are some areas that that we need to grow, and where are some areas that we're not even coming close to where we should be? So I'm gonna let you.
And when they say arts, they mean visual art, music, theater, drama. So we're looking at all of that. So we're just in the beginning phases. We have teacher surveys, we have student surveys that went out, some today. There'll be parent surveys. So it'll really give us a lot of data. That's what we're gathering this year, a lot of data so that we can start seeing where we need to grow, where we can grow, where we should.
And then when we have all that, we'll be able to come and hopefully present to you so that we can kind of show what we found.
And it's a good partnership. It gets our teachers working together, unified as an arts program. All right. Well, the visual arts department, we've been having a good year. Here you can see some self-portraits, one high school, one middle school, and one elementary. Just to give you a taste of what our kids are doing. This year we have a new collaboration with the South Shore Arts Center. They had an artist in residence program, so this year they came into the Arnone to the 4th grade. An artist, James Burke, came in, and through his art, he does personal storytelling. So he presented his art to the students, talked to them about personal storytelling. The students developed their own stories. They started by using crayon to do drawings, and they used watercolor to make a resist. And then at the end, they got up and shared their stories. So you'll see later on in the presentation, we talk a lot about artistic voice. So this fit really well into what we're doing, right? That we want kids to be telling their stories, who they are, what's important to them, what they value through their artwork, really developing their voice. So this was a great collaboration at the Arnone School. They came in 3 separate days to work with all the 4th graders, and it was really successful. It was a nice addition to our program. As years in the past, we always focus on Black History Month, where we have student artists and all the elementaries and the middle schools creating artwork, either celebrating Black history or inspired by artists, by famous Black artists. And they've really focused on a lot of contemporary artists. Here you see the fluorescent colored kind of geometric shape. One is a quilt, inspired by the quilters of Gee's Bend. And then Martin Luther King, obviously. And then this is an abstract paper sculpture by an artist named Charles McGee was inspired it. Our partnership with the Fuller Craft Museum just continues to grow. They're just such a great partner for us. So all of our 3rd and 5th grades go on tours of the museum. They have a really great education director over there that trains the docents. The tours are really geared to our kids. They look at our curriculum. We make connections. Our teachers go over there and tour the tours ahead of time so they can prep the kids on not only how do we interact with the museum, but also connections with the artists and with the exhibits. Then when they come back, there's follow-up activities and lessons that match those exhibits. This year, we also have BHS ceramic artists have made all those bisqueware pieces, and on those shelves are part of this greater exhibit called More Clay. This exhibit's traveled all around the country, and in each museum that it ends up in, it collaborates with an educational body, sometimes a museum school, sometimes, different classes, but they chose to partner with us. We created these vessels. So those are on display. They'll be up there for a year as part of this More Clay exhibit. And then, of course, every other year, we do Brockton Youth Creates. So this is an exhibit of BHS student artwork. It's a whole gallery dedicated to us. It will go up in July, and it'll be up there till mid-September. They'll have a reception for us, I think, in July. I'll let you know the details when we get that finalized. But what happens there is their curators come here to the high school art show, and they pick things. They jury a show. So it's a real honor for our kids to be picked by a museum. It's not their teacher putting them up. This is an outside body looking at their work and judging. So that's always really exciting. So I'd love for you to all to come in July for that. Of course, we did well in our annual competition, Scholastic Art Awards. Let me see. So 16 of our students won 2 gold keys, 4 silver keys, and 10 honorable mentions in the Scholastic Art Awards. And the Emerging Young Artist, it's UMass Dartmouth. We had 11 students were selected to exhibit work in the 2026 juried exhibition. This Emerging Young Artist is the thing I value the most, because it is, as far as our high school competition, it's all New England high schools. Any high school in New England can enter. So it's very competitive. And the idea that we have 11 kids get selected, lots of schools get 1 or 2, right? So and this is kind of consistent that we have kids win in this. And that's what it's like an outside voice that tells me we're doing all right. So I'm really proud of that. And junior Axel Sanford went even beyond that. Parents are here tonight. He won the Dean's Award there. So that was very exciting. And UMass Dartmouth is a great partner. They often send someone down to judge our high school art show. So we enjoy working with them. ArtSmart. This just happened in March. This is our local collaboration with the Brockton Public Library. They're so supportive of the arts. They let us hold all our art shows there. So we have ArtSmart there, where 25 pieces of student work get selected. Each teacher here at the high school selects 3 to 4 pieces. Everything is framed, and it's hung professionally in a gallery. So when the kids go, they really get to, it's their first real art exhibition. We have snacks, and people walk around and ask them about their work. And then the library gives money prizes for first, second, and third prize. And then they display the first, second, and third prize winners for the year in the teen section of the library. Again, Paul Ingalls at the library, wonderful partner. They have this show for us. They let us have our faculty art show in this same gallery. They let us completely invade them and have the K-8 art show in their multipurpose room, and we take that room over. And not only do they let us invade it, it's up for 2 weeks, and they host all the parents that come in, all the parents and kids that come in. They welcome them in and make sure they get to see the show and have a good time. So just really wonderful partnership. And then professional development. We have 4 in-services a day, plus a year, plus our normal meetings, and we've really been focusing on our scope and sequence. So again, making sure we have some continuity from school to school and grade to grade, making sure we all have the same philosophy of what's important in art education. The K-8 folks spent quite a bit of time this year working on adaptive art for our most needy learners. And really, are we providing them with quality art instruction? And I think we've made a real big jump on that this year through scheduling and through professional development, working together. And then also analyzing student work. We've done this every year for many years. We have a protocol that we follow. But this year, we specifically we're talking about artistic intent, which is student voice. Again, are our students creating artwork that represents who they are, where they're from, what's important to them, what they like, what they're afraid of, their feelings. They're not walking out with cookie cutter stuff. If everyone walks out with the same bunny rabbit, it was not an art lesson, it was a follow the directions lesson, right? So, really focusing on student choice, even if it's, in kindergarten, they're picking their colors, right? Or what is the choice? Where is that student voice in that piece of artwork? The other thing I always say is the artwork it can be fleeting, right? It falls in a puddle on the way home. It never makes it home. But what does the kid have inside? What do they own from making that artwork? How did they express themselves? So that's what we focus on in these meetings as we talk. And then we have upcoming events. So we have Photo Voice, which is a partnership with the health department and High Point. I think we've presented on that here before. That's down in the Azure Caf tonight as we speak. So I'm going to run off to that reception when I'm done here. We also currently have the IB Senior Art Exhibit in the lobby. That will be up till Friday. So part of their IB senior portfolio is to actually put it up as an exhibit, a specific exhibit. So you can enjoy that on the way out if you like. Our annual art show, I put an invitation in front of you, is May 5th through 8th. The reception is on the 5th from 5 to 7. Harbor One always sponsored this art show. As you know, Eastern Bank bought out Harbor One, and Eastern Bank is going to continue the tradition. So we're really, really happy about that. This is the 40th annual art show. We have the faculty art show. Again, a big focus of ours is that our teachers are artists. They're practicing artists. So we have that at the library, May 2nd to 28th. And then the K to 8, which is huge, and that's at the library, and that'll be up May 19th to the 28th. Also, Chicago, the musical, of course, May 15th, 16th, 17th, 7 p.m. I think, Anna, you have a poster there. And hold it up. Oh, yes, Axel. Yeah, our very own Axel, who won the Dean's Award from UMass Dartmouth. Yeah. And of course, we post a lot on Facebook. We have a Brockton Arts Facebook page. If you want to follow us, you get to see pictures of student artwork all the time and what's going on in the art.
Thank you. Great presentation, and also basically showcasing all our students' artwork. It's incredible, the talent that we have in the art department from our students. And even from K to 8, I do go to a lot of at the library, Brockton Library. I've been going there for years because my kids always ends up over there. But I do love seeing other kids and just like from kindergarten, just like how they start to develop their art, their creative ability, and then to see some of the students develop as the years go, and now in high school, being able to display their art at UMass Dartmouth is incredible. I think that's something we should be very extremely proud of our students, to be selected 11 out of the whole Massachusetts to be out there and present the artwork. I think it's beautiful. I didn't get a chance to go, and there was a lot of stuff. I think it was the snow was happening that week. I know they canceled it and changed it. But definitely I do want to go to the one that's coming up and just seeing more of our work. I spent a lot of times in high school either doing pottery or photography. Those were my thing. I was not a sports person. I was either photography or pottery. And I love the fact that the Fuller Museum, they have that. Yeah. And it's something that I'm definitely going to go look at it. I think it's something that a lot of families don't know. There's a museum in Brockton that they can take their students, their kids to on the, during the week when it's school vacation. I think we appreciate that they're partnering with us. They're allowing our students to basically display their artwork, and more residents should go there. It's a beautiful museum, and especially now that the weather's getting better, to be out there and just looking at our artworks, especially the ones from our students. Yeah. Thank you for all the work you're doing, and definitely proud of our students, all the artwork they're producing too. Thank you.
And the Fuller Craft Museum is free to anybody. You can go on in. They will take a donation if you like to give them one, of course, but it is free. So we do tell that to our kids when they come in 3rd and 5th grade. We say, if you like it here, bring your family. And a lot of them do. A lot of them do bring their families back to see that. They also are offering, and I will share it around, they are going to offer some summer classes. So they're at the Fuller Craft Museum, yeah. So they're trying to build their program too. So
That's good. That's really good. Maybe like do more advertising about that so our
Yep.
students, they don't feel like it's only like when they're in school.
Yeah.
School year, maybe in the summertime, if they want to continue their artwork and their craft, it's definitely something they can.
they have
look
a new
into.
director over there that's just wonderful, and their education department head is wonderful. So they're really building out some things and really making some inroads to connect really strongly with Brockton.
Perfect. Another question. How is like funding or budget for like supplies? Does any of our students have to pay for any of the supplies for artwork, like pottery,
No.
photography and stuff? Everything is
Our students
given
do
to
not
them?
pay for their supplies. Brockton has always traditionally really supported the arts, and I have a good consumable supply. So paint, paper, those are consumable supplies. I have a good budget. If I could stay the same, I'd be good.
And how about the classrooms? Are they designed like as the year's been going? Because I remember how they were back then, like feasible for students to like do their artwork, their project, like pottery.
You mean the physical rooms?
Physical room? Like how is it to like? Is there any like renovation, any upgrade that needs to be done? So at least the student have an area that they can really do their artwork,
Yeah,
especially
I
like
think
pottery, photography area.
our ceramic studio is still working. We just got all new computers in our digital photography and our digital art lab. So that was huge. We all know Brockton High needs some
Yeah, of
freshening
course.
up, right? But we're fine.
Okay.
We're doing all right. You give an artist a little bit of space, they are going to make it work. Our kilns are working. We have new computers. We have easels.
Perfect. Thank you. I
Network.
appreciate that.
Santeo?
As a new school committee, my kids are still young. Hopefully, they'll continue to grow and they will be able to participate in some of the things that you mentioned. I'm so happy to see that right now we're having the time to start highlighting all the great work that our school is doing. And I just want to make sure that we continue to do that. And I want to make sure that the newspaper continues to highlight that. I feel like we've come a long way. And it's like, as a new school committee, I am so proud that I am on the seat, but also so proud that I went to Brockton High and to see all the great works that is happening. So thank you. And we don't really hear it that often, that your budget is good. Maybe we should not say it out loud, but that's good. Thank
I
you.
didn't say it was extra. It's just, if I could just stay. Hold.
I just had a few questions for you. So right now, within the elementary school, is the programming consistent in each elementary school, even though
Yes.
some of the schools may or may not have an art room anymore?
It's 40 minutes once a week.
Okay.
Every school that can have an art room has an art room, if there's space. Some of our smaller schools, Kennedy, Gilmore.
And what do you do in those instances
The teacher's going to the rooms,
with the room?
Yeah. art on a cart. But it works. Those schools are small, as far as room. If a room opened up, I'm sure they would give it to the art teacher. That I know. The Gilmores had one on and off over the years. It depends on the numbers.
So obviously, do you fall under Dr. Spalding as well?
I do.
There's no literacy in yours. How come?
Oh, well, I didn't highlight it tonight,
I'm
but
sorry.
there
I'm
is
sorry.
literacy.
My question is,
We read, write, and speak about art,
are there
not only create.
do you see opportunities to actually collaborate and to integrate the art with other subjects so that it can be kind of brought out a little bit more than what it may be now?
Well, the art teachers themselves, especially at the elementary level, a lot of our lessons are book driven, right? They're reading books about artists. And like I said, they do they're reading about artists, they're creating artwork, they're speaking about their own artwork, like the collaboration with the South Shore Arts Center. But we do that kind of stuff all the time where kids are standing up and talking about their artwork. That's giving them a chance to use their language skills, especially English language learners, right? They're getting to talk about what's important to them and use their language. So that's happening a lot in art. I also have individual teachers that partner with classroom teachers on specialty projects. I don't dictate that or, assign that, I should say, is a better word. But that happens naturally a lot.
I would say to Dr. Spalding that some of these, even the music as well, to get some new books into our libraries, these would be some great books that we could add and get your take and Ms. Desmond's take on what books we can add to the libraries, especially the one at the high school, as we rebuild that library. My last question is, if additional funding were to become available, where would you invest to grow the program?
I feel like we have the right number of elementary teachers right now and middle school. I would take a ceramics teacher back here at the high school. I lost that during the pandemic, and that's the one I have not gotten back.
If I don't know, my fellow members have had the opportunity to take the tour of the high school fine arts building downstairs and to see where she's talking about the kilns and everything that's down there. They are not small, they are very large. It's a great program, and I think that, like I said in the beginning, this is another great way for our kids to use their hands and use skills that they may not normally be able to use with all different types of art, clay and everything else. But thank you. I appreciate your coming in.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
All right. Next agenda item is the JROTC overview presented by Master Sergeant Bailey. Master Sergeant Bailey, you have the floor. And don't feel like you have to do everything like they did because, I know you're an Army guy.
Slides, I'm sorry. I'm not good at slides, so I'm just going to talk. Good afternoon, folks. JRTC, I am one of the two instructors. We normally have three instructors, but we're down to two. One resigned, personal issues. We start off the year with 300 students for the two of us. For JRTC, the way it works, it's funded by the government, half of it, and the other half is funded by the school system. So for 151 students, we normally have three instructors, and I just told you we have over 300 starting off the year. So that gives you a good little picture of what we actually work with. We have great kids here in the city of Brockton, so we love having them. Yeah, sometimes they give us some of the kids that we actually have to work with, but they all turn out great because that's what we're used to doing. So we kind of tend to push them a little harder. Some of the things that we actually do in JRTC, we do a bunch of parades, okay, and we support the surrounding cities also while we're doing those, whether it be Brockton. Brockton is our priority, so we push everything towards Brockton. We cover Easton, we will cover Avon. This year I got a letter from Somerville wanting us to come out there, but that's a little bit too far out of our catchment area, so we do not cover them. We cover the Brockton VA also, so this year they're doing a 2K, so we'll be out there supporting them and some of the in-house veterans that are wounded there and has to stay there with no family, so the kids will go out and support them, and they love seeing our kids, especially out in uniforms. Speaking of uniforms, we actually clothe our kids with all the uniforms. They don't have to pay for them and anything. We give them shoes, socks, T-shirts, pants, belts, shirts, jacket, and a beret. So they get everything free of cost. Only thing we ask them to do is make sure they clean it and keep it, the way they're supposed to keep it, so they looked the part. So when you guys see them out there at a parade or walking back and forth to school, they look pristine. some people confuse them as regular Army soldiers, because that's how good we make sure they actually look. So they look great in their uniforms. We cover their discipline, because we're very strong on the discipline, how they treat the appearance and everything else. That reflects back on us and what we do with them. So we make sure everything like that is covered with, hey, this is how you speak. You don't speak with the oohs and the ahs and yeah. We take that away from them. So when they speak with us, they speak according like they have some kind of education. So we push that towards them with part of the discipline. Okay, and I just said the word ah. So I do count myself when I do that. So that's one of the things we actually do. We support the local things here as the color guards for the school. Everything that happens here in the school that they need some kind of a color guard or some kind of mission, whether it be parent teachers conference and stuff like that, we're there for them. Okay, no matter what it is, we're there. We either we have to dwindle down the numbers because we can't send them like 60 to 50 kids, especially during the teachers' conferences. We can't do that. So we try to take out kids that haven't done it. So we take them like 50 kids or so. And those are the kids that walk the parents around the school to show them where everything is. There's a plethora of things that we actually do here. We actually support the Boys and Girls State. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with that, but it's a program ran by Stonehill College. And the American Legion gives us the money to send 2 to 3 kids once a year to Boys and Girls State. With the Boys and Girls State, the people that normally do that are your AP kids. And that's something that we send our kids to. And speaking of AP, our students that we have, some of them are IB students, they're AP students, and they're honor students. Yes, we have the ones with the D's, okay? Do we check their grades? Yes, we do. Every time the term's about to end, we go through and check each student's grades. And we tell them what they need to do to get their grades up, okay? We sit there and just go through their whole curriculum with them so that they know, okay, you need to do a buyback, or you need to work with this teacher here because you are getting a D or you have an F. So we sit with the kids, and their parents appreciate stuff like that because sometimes they don't get that at home. So we take care of that. And I know it's a big burden on us sometimes to actually do that, but hey, we find the time to make sure that stuff is done. Some of the other things that we do, we work with the police department because they have the cadet challenge thing that we actually do. So we normally try to send as many kids as we can to that, the ones that they will accept. And they normally have to be under 17 years old to actually participate in that. Reason why we send them to that is because they come back trained, okay, in first aid, and they have a little bit more discipline that they can push out to the other students. And most of these kids that we send to that also complete the cadet program for the police department. Right now I have 3 to 4 students that just graduated the last police academies class that's on the police department right now. We do also send kids to college and everything else like that too. So it's not just about the military part of it or the military aspect of it. We actually look at their grades and said, hey, okay, you need to work on this for college, okay? We try to make sure they get scholarships for colleges, okay? So it's not just, hey, the JRTC, they're strictly military. No, we're not just military. We make sure kids are prepared for everything. College, the outside world, because there are kids that I have taken up to the window, because we're on the 2nd floor, and I point over there towards McDonald's and show them, hey, you're going to be out there next year. What are you planning on doing? And they talk to us and we tell them, okay, you need to go this way. Okay. And that leads me into letting them take the ASVAB test, which is the aptitude battery test to join the military. But I also let them know it's not only for you to join the military, it's for you to see where you fit in as far as college. Okay. It lets them know what they need to take in college as far as studying. Okay, lets them know what their major should be. So this test gives them a little thing on, hey, okay, I need to go this way. Is this the way I want to go? This is what I specialize in. So it gives them a little bit of, freedom of where they want to move to. The last thing that we actually do is once a year, two last things that we do, we run our own little summer camp, okay, with the 11 other schools in Massachusetts, and we also participate with the schools there's 3 schools in Rhode Island and 4 in Connecticut that we actually participate with for the summer camp. So we have approximately 300 to 400 kids that we meet up at Fort Devens, and we run them through a week-long summer camp where it's a little bit of history because we take them out to Paul Revere ride. We talk about that. We teach them, a little bit more discipline, how to work as a team, everything. So everything we do is stemmed on what the kids should be doing as far as going out on the real world and working with people. So that's some of the stuff we do. The last thing that we do is our dining out, which closes out our year. This is where we get to say thank you for their hard work. Thank the seniors for being there with us, because the seniors are going to be the ones that's going out into the communities and the rest of the world, whether it be the military, college, law enforcement, or on the job. It doesn't matter. We know that they're out there doing something, and this is our way of thanking them for their service to the JRTC program. And I want to take this time to thank you, sir, and Mr. Rodriguez for helping us get the venue that you guys got us now, and for pointing us in the right direction also for, the culinary department, because we never thought about using some of those things. And I'd like to thank you all personally. Pending your questions.
I'll open it to the committee. Anybody have any questions? Ms.
Yes, ma'am.
Oliver?
Great job. I can't wait for the gala. I love the gala. Definitely seeing our kids when they're, say what part of the, military they're going to and how proud they are that they signed up. I'm praying that every student that has left here the past few years, they are safe wherever they're at. I'm always thinking about them because I know last year we had a lot of students that did enlisted, and as a parent, I think it was proud. I was very proud of them, but I'm also, the world that we're living in, I'm always thinking about our students, especially the ones that has enlisted and out there protecting this country, and their parents should be really proud that they're serving for this country. But definitely, my only question is, I think that it was doing veterans, like it was really cold, and I think a lot of students didn't have a jacket. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure that that issue was resolved. I know that we only pay half, and the military pays the other half. Do we now have enough jacket? Because I know during the winter time there was it the Veterans Day at the and a lot of students didn't have a jacket, and it was freezing.
Yes,
it was extremely cold out, and I want to make sure that that has been resolved for the coming up any event in the wintertime that they have a jacket.
Yes, ma'am. We actually give out jackets to the students, the long overcoats that you see them wearing sometimes. Those are the jackets that we actually give them. We have a shorter jacket that we'll be most likely pushing out this coming year to the students also, just to make sure that they're kept warm. Because trust me, I know how cold it gets out there. And thank you for pushing out to our students. And most of the students that have joined the military, I've been in contact with them constantly. They never seem to lose the number for some reason. I don't know why, but they are safe. We have 2 students that's on the Ford right now. Well, one's on the Ford and one's on the Carson Young, I think it is, both nuclear carriers. They're doing nuclear propulsion.
Wow.
So you can imagine that, yes, they're actually out there. Some of them have sent me some pictures with one of them on the battleship that is shooting down the rockets as they're coming back over. But those kids are very safe where they're at.
It's good to hear.
And we've had the other kids are in the country. They're overseas. It looks like Brockton is extending its footsteps in Korea right now. Okay, because we have a few kids that's going to be in Kadena Air Force Base right now that's there doing things that they need to do. Some of them are secret and some of them are not. But they are very safe. We have a few that's military police officers. One's actually going to Turkey this coming June. They'll be moving on to Turkey, and like I said, there's some in Germany. They're all over the place. But I do check in on them every now and then just to make sure they're safe. The ones on the carriers, they're harder to reach. Every now and then when the carrier pulls out of the zone, they will shoot an email and say, hey, everything went fine, we're great, and everything else. So I am in contact with them.
That's good to know that you guys keep in contact with them and informing us and just let them know we are extremely proud that they're putting Brockton on the map wherever they're going.
Yes, ma'am.
But we are definitely proud and we appreciate their service very much.
Roger that, ma'am.
Thank you and all the great work you're doing.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Just a few questions from me. 300 kids, it seems like it's grown.
Yes, sir.
It seems like it can continue to grow, which is a great thing. As a veteran myself, as an Army guy, of course I'm smart, so I'd be in the Army. I just wanted to ask, do you have a wait list, or is there any untapped potential student interest?
We have plenty of student interest, but we actually at the mercy of the space in the classroom.
Okay.
And whether the guidance counselors can fit it in their schedules and everything else. That's how it actually works. I had this one student that had to wait till the third term to actually get in because of how things were working. So she had to wait a little bit.
What would be required to expand the program more? It sounds like additional instructors and some classroom space.
Right now, it's all space, and for us to spread it out a little, we do have a new instructor that hopefully we'll get a new instructor coming in this summer. But for us to get additional instructors, that would have to be something that the school would have to request through the U.S. Army, and they would staff it and say, okay, you know what, this is what we have so far, and they will put you on the OML list because most of the schools in the southern states, they're all JRTC strong, versus the Northeast here. We're not as strong in the JRTC area. But they would staff it and say, yes, we can do it. It's just a matter of us actually doing it.
Yeah, and this is, just to make a point, this is another great way to go to college for free. These are scholarships when you go to ROTC. Those are scholarships that these students end up going to. We have Norwich up here in the north.
Yes,
that is a great military school. I would just say that it is something that is always good to look at. But this whole thing is about how we can improve the program and possibly look at, can we make this a feeder system and possibly start some smaller elementary school, middle school programs as a feeder system up to your program at the high school?
Well, sir, yes, we can, sir. There is a way. Well, let me push it back a little bit. To answer your question on the Norwich thing, I just found out earlier this year that we can actually give a $16,000 scholarship to any students that's going to Norwich that's in JRTC.
Wow.
And right now we have one student that will be doing that. She's going to be a nurse. So right off the bat, okay, she will be leaving this summer to go to basic training in AIT in Texas, which is our advanced training, and she's going to be at the hospital there for about a year. By the time she finishes there, she's pretty much got 1 or 2 years of her degree already completed at Norwich. So we're going to still give her the $16,000 because Norwich said that we can actually do that through them. And I didn't know that we can actually do that. So now I know we can, actually write out a scholarship to them, and it's not coming out of our pockets or anything else. As far as the feeder system, when the kids actually come in to visit the high school, the eighth graders, and they select, they actually make sure they come through JRTC also. So we use that as our little feeder system. Can we do it at can we do it at the middle school? Yes, we can, sir. We can actually teach eighth graders in JRTC. We have not done that because this school starts at the ninth grade. So that's the only reason why we haven't done that. But yes, we can start off at the eighth grade level.
Any other questions? Thank you, Master Sergeant.
Awesome, thank you.
Awesome. Let's see. Next, we will move on to the NEASC overview from the athletic department presented by George Edwards. He is on Zoom. Mr. Edwards?
Good evening.
You got
Can
the
you hear
floor.
me? Thank you very much for the invitation to join you tonight and to present on the New England Association of Schools and Colleges athletic program review process. I'm going to share a few slides with you. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right, great. So again, my name is George Edwards. I'm the Chief Accreditation Officer at the New England Association of Schools and Colleges. And I want to share some information about a process that we've created at the request of some schools in Massachusetts to review their athletic programs and to provide them with direction in ways that they can improve those programs. So just to start out, I think it's important to note that our process really is focused on educationally based athletic programs. I was really interested in your opening comments and the way that you described the ways that co-curricular activities, including athletics and music and art and JRTC, how they can really bring students opportunities to learn that they may not otherwise get in the classroom. And so this is really important. We know that athletic programs in some places have taken on a life of their own to become more of a pipeline for college or for professional aspirations, but we also really know the importance of many of the lessons that student athletes learn from their participation. So that's the focus of this process, is to really help make sure that schools are able to provide an athletic program that's educationally based. So just a little background on this process. We started this back in 2022. We have created a set of standards. We have worked with school districts, with school committee members, with superintendents, principals, athletic directors all over New England to create this process. We have been working to pilot this process in schools. We have quite a bit of interest in schools moving forward with this process. And so we're really excited about the way that this process can help schools and help student athletes. So just a little bit about the steps that take place in the process. The process starts with a survey that the school conducts with parents, with staff, and with student athletes. This really provides some baseline information about the athletic program and helps the school create information that they can then conduct a self-study. They really look at the process that the athletic program is involved with, the policies that they have, the protocols that they have in place, and they reflect on those against a set of standards. and I'll share the standards with you in a little bit. After the self-study takes place, the school hosts a visiting team for 2 days. The visiting team is made up of people who have a background in schools, their principals, their superintendents, their athletic directors, their coaches, who share the philosophy of educationally based athletics. After the visit is over, the visiting team prepares a report. That report provides the school with observations, with recommendations, with commendations, and then the school has an opportunity to implement those recommendations. And they follow up with a 2-year progress report to indicate the progress that they've made in implementing the recommendations that they receive. I mentioned pilot schools, and we've had quite a few pilot schools that have gone through this process. The first 2 were done in the spring of 2024 in Brookfield, Connecticut, and in Taunton, Massachusetts. Just since January, we've conducted visits at the Kent School, which is a private boarding school in Connecticut, at the International School of Panama in Panama City, at Walpole High School in Walpole, Massachusetts. And just last week, we actually did another of our visits to Newton North High School. In the coming weeks, we have visits scheduled for Newton South High School, for the Frankfurt International School in Frankfurt, Germany, for the Belmont Day School in Belmont, Massachusetts. And then probably later this spring, or maybe not until next fall, we'll have visits to Beverly High School in Massachusetts, Waterford High School in Connecticut, and East Lyme High School in Connecticut. So you can see a broad range of schools going through this process, international schools, public schools in New England, as well as independent private schools in New England. This is not, I think it's also important to let you know, this is not an accreditation process, it's a program review process, and it's not a requirement for NEASC. So this is a voluntary process that schools have chosen to go through because they want to ensure that their athletic programs are as strong as they could be. A successful school will receive a certificate signifying that they've successfully completed the process. There's a 5-year cycle for this process. As I mentioned, there'll be a 2-year interim report, and then certificates will be renewed upon successful completion of the 5-year cycle. This process has been endorsed by a number of organizations. Specifically in Massachusetts, it's been endorsed by the Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletics Association, by the Massachusetts Association of School Administrators, and nationally, it's been endorsed by the National Federation of High Schools. This is the umbrella organization to which all of the state athletic associations belong. So the MIAA in Massachusetts is a member of the National Federation of High Schools. Here are the 6 standards that we have developed and that schools work with. These are the standards that they use to conduct their self-study. So we look at the guiding principles that guide the athletic program. We look at the program itself, how it's organized, how it's structured. We look at the resources, and if those resources are equitably used across all of the sports and across both male and female athletic programs. We look at the administration of the program. We look at player and program evaluation. And very importantly, we look at safety, well-being, and inclusion. Finally, we have created a number of materials to help schools go through this process. So we have created a guide that schools use to conduct the self-reflection or the self-study. We have a template for the report that schools use. We've created a template for the visiting team reports so that there's consistency in the feedback that schools receive. We have created the surveys for students, parents, and coaches. And I would just add that the surveys are all done electronically. So we create electronic links. We provide them to the schools, and then the schools can send those out through social media, through newsletters, and encourage students, parents, and coaches to complete those surveys. We also have evidence collection forms and a list of frequently asked questions. So that concludes my presentation. I again want to thank you for the opportunity to present tonight. I'm happy to take any questions or any suggestions that you might have, and I wanted to make sure that I gave you my contact information so that in the event that you have any questions in the future, you'll have an opportunity to reach out to me and to ask those questions.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. And just for point of information, Member Rodriguez and I were asked to be involved in a meeting from the principal, Mr. McCaskill, who wanted to review the athletic program as it is now, to better it. And as you can see, this add some standards to it. And this is a program that that we feel as though is something that is needed in this in the athletic department throughout the district. With that, I wanted to open it to any questions from the members. No question? Oh, go ahead, Member Rodriguez.
It's not some. I mean, it's if it drives into a question. I mean, obviously, this was a couple of months ago that we sat down to see how this program is laid out. It's going to be interesting to see how the report comes out of where we are and what we should be doing. I mean, we always have like kind of a sense of an idea of like, oh, let's do this, but actually getting it assessed is very important. And I know I had asked if this would have incorporated the middle school level. Did we get to that determination, or are we just still focusing just on the high school?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So we have done both high schools and middle schools. And actually, the Belmont Day School that we're working with currently, and both of the international schools that we're working with have not only middle school and high school programs, but also elementary school programs. So the process and the standards that we've created are really applicable to educationally based athletic programs at all levels.
But I'm asking specifically for Brockton. Are we going to incorporate the middle schools when we do this review? I'm going to call it a review.
If the decision is made by the school district to include the middle school, we can certainly do that.
Okay. I mean, one of the main reasons is that we have middle school football, we have track, we have soccer. To see, I've always had that that sense that every athletic sport that's offered at the high school level should be offered at the middle school level. To be that feeder system. One of the biggest things was, had a student ask me why they don't have tennis or swimming at the middle school level. So I think, if we can put something together, obviously working with the superintendent to see what that framework would be, even if it's, off season or different season, or long as we can grow that, because we see baseball, we don't have that at the middle school level no more. That's a concern for me. But other than that, go ahead.
I'm sorry, if I might add, the last program review that we did, we only did a high school, but there were many recommendations that came that included middle school, because one of the concerns that the school had was about their competitiveness and their ability to retain student athletes. They were concerned that student athletes were going to private schools and going to boarding schools, and that they were leaving that particular school district. And so one of the things that we did look at was what were ways that they could create really a feeder system or a pipeline for student athletes. And so we did end up making recommendations about the middle school, even though the focus of the program review was on the high school. So I think you're right on that there are important aspects of middle school athletics that affect the high schools as well.
Yeah, I think if we move forward, it needs to incorporate the middle school level to get a full picture of where we are. I mean, I can have my opinion on it, but, you know, having the actual data and facts, going back and interviewing these student athletes to see why they left or didn't come, you know, whatever those reasons are, to see what we can better fix in it. So, but looking forward to seeing the groundwork be laid out and what's actually reported back to us. Thank you.
Yeah, just to make sure everyone knows, this is something that is being done, that Mr. McCaskill has put into his budget for the next school year. And again, this is something that, as we are trying to ensure that we keep our students here, as Member Rodriguez pointed out, it does start even in the elementary, but the middle school really needs to be a part of this so that we have that feeder system, and also having I think in football it's a little bit different than maybe in baseball, but having to have the terminology and everything else. I think in soccer it's the same way. The terminology that's used in the high school brought all the way down through the middle school only helps to keep our kids here instead of them going off to there or some Catholic school. Miss Oliver?
Just to piggyback off of Mr. Rodriguez, I just have a quick question. Is this going to be like a survey? Are they coming in to like survey like our fields? Like, is it like survey for parents, students? Like, what exactly does this entail?
Yes, so during the visit itself, the visiting team will do a tour of the facilities. They'll also meet with a number of different constituent groups, including parents, including school committee members, including district and school level leadership, coaches, student athletes, you know, a whole range of different stakeholders. This is really important feedback for the visiting team to get so that they can make good, valid recommendations.
Thank you. And I think we definitely have to include the middle school. And I think one of the big component is basically the field that our students in middle schools are playing in. I mean, we all can see it. We see how it's not safe fields that we're playing football on in the middle school. And I think a lot of our students and parents, if they see their kids playing in a field that's not kept and it's unsafe, they are going to choose other school district that is basically have a better equipment, better field for the students to play on because they don't want to risk any, concussion or any brain injury. I think that might be one of the major things that we definitely have to look at in middle school for us to even bring more sports to middle school is basically making a safe field, a safe area for our students to play on and not have injuries that young age that they basically will never play again because they're getting hurt in the field that they were playing on. So I think this is a great idea. Definitely, I can't wait to see it and the study happening and see how we have to vote on it and get this started. But I think this is a great idea that you guys brought this up forward. Thanks.
Ms. Centeo?
My question was about the recommendations, like Ms. Oliver was saying. So besides looking at are the fields safe enough, what else will you and your team be looking at?
Safety is number one, but we also look at the number of fields. We look at fields for specific sports. We look at indoor facilities, so we look at courts. We look at areas for practices of many different kinds of sports. So indoor track, wrestling, gymnastics, any sport that the school offers, we would look at the facilities that the school has to accommodate those sports.
And speaking of budget, for your program, for your assessment and the survey, is this a one-time fee, or is this a fee that we have to pay every year?
No, the athletic program review is a one-time fee, and then there are expenses for the visiting team.
I'm not sure if this is in the works or something that maybe we'll talk more about. Do we have that amount of how much is going to cost us as the district?
My understanding is that Principal McCaskill has budgeted for the cost for this. And again, it's not a recurring cost. It's a one-time cost that would be in next year's 2026-27 budget.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Oh, yeah. Ms.
Maybe
Oliver?
for something that either next meeting or something, we can get that number, like how much it is going to cost us, just to see exactly what the amount will be. And I think also, are we going to evaluate, like, boys sports against girls sports? Because I think the standards are way different, how the city is and how we treat boys sports and girls sports. And I think it's something that we also need to improve, the girls sports in the city of Brockton, because I think it's something that we have never really put a spotlight on. It's always been the boys sport. So I think it's something that we also need to see where the standards landing, and then see how we can make sure it's an equal standards that we're putting, that we're supporting both sports at all time.
I will just
Yeah, that is.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That is an important part of the review, is to look at the equity between sports and the equity between boys sports and girls sports.
And I would just add to that, as a dad of 3 daughters, all of which play sports, 2 at the high school now, and 1 that will play possibly at the high school if she doesn't go to a private school. I will tell you that I see the same difference between, as a former football player here at Brockton High, and how we were treated, and how the girls' sports are treated here. And one of the reasons why I'm on this committee, and why I wanted so badly to be chair of this committee as well, was to ensure that there was equal treatment when it came to that. And we could go into many details as to how they're different, how they're supported differently. But I will assure you that as long as I'm on this committee, and as long as I'm chair of this subcommittee, that I will fight tooth and nail to make sure that women's sports, girls' sports are just as important as boys' sports. So I will give you that, my promise for that. All right, any other questions? Mr. Edwards, I would like to thank you for your time and your presentation, and we will talk soon.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
All right, next order of business. Save the best for last. So, as I just mentioned, I was I'm a football alum here at Brockton High. One of the greatest things that, as a football alum, as a football player at Brockton High, when I was here, and we played in front of 5,000 to 10,000 fans during the heyday of Brockton High. I will tell you, one of the greatest things was to come out of that tunnel and to hear the band play the Rocky theme. But I'll tell you this, I actually started my experience with the band when my sister, who's 10 years older than me, was a saxophone player in Mr. Macrina's band. And I was a little kid sitting with her up in the band section. And that was before I became a water boy with my brothers as they were playing. So it's Mr. Macrina and the band itself has always had a soft spot in my heart because of how they supported the football program, but also because of the experience my sister, my family had in it. I think that, as you've seen in this hearing today, in the meeting today, that I think that I've proven that, you know, music, arts, and extracurriculars are extremely important. But like I had mentioned, there's nothing quite like, I think there's only 3 times in my career at Brockton High when this didn't happen. But at the end of every game, and they played the song, "Na na na na, hey hey hey, goodbye." That was us telling the other team, as the band played that we just destroyed you. And as we were back in those days, pretty commonly doing that. But without further ado, he needs no introduction, of course. But Mr. Macrina, I asked him to come here and speak on the music program. I wanted to get his view on what's going on and what his views are of the program and of the band. And because I think it's important to look back, just like we talked to Mr. Pileski last meeting. I think Mr. Macrina is a valued asset that is still willing to come and give his time to the community. So, Mr. Macrina, the floor is yours. Yeah.
I'm going to say, all right, okay, get this done. A local school principal, they called me up to help her out. It's around, I will leave the school unnamed, and to help her out with a music program because this particular school did not have a music program. And when I walk in there, the first thing she said to me, "You know, Mr. Macrina, you cost me a lot of good kids." I said, "I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that, you know." I said, and she was joking, but what she said was, she said, "We can't offer the extra things that you can offer." That's why we were taking all the smart kids. And if you go and look in the back, since I've been here for 50 years, and I can tell you all the superintendents we've had, what worked in this place, what didn't work in this place, where do we go, why after the 2000 standards went down the drain. When you say you went to Brockton High School from the 70s down, they didn't even look at your resume. When a kid went to BC from my band, and they found out, at BC College, they found out that, "Oh, you play for Vinnie Macrina and the Brockton High School?" He says, "Yeah, you don't have to audition." I think that's the biggest thing, number one. Standards have gone down. I know everybody wins gold medal, but you know what happens when there's so much gold going around? And I've seen that. When we competed, there was 1 gold medal. There wasn't 7, 10, 12, 13. And the other thing is, too, is Superintendent Malone one year, when we're doing the national honor, so-and-so, member of the band, member of the chorus, member over there, so-and-so, member of the band, member of the chorus, drum, and so on, and so and so and so. He said, turns around and goes, "What's the common denominator here?" We lost these kids. A couple of years ago, they were telling me, and I was there within COVID, right towards the end, trying to keep things happening out there. We sort of like just before there. After the 2010, somehow standards just totally went down. Don't ask me why. But Brockton was always known as the high school that had academics. We had the athletics, you had all this and so on, but it was the extra things that the city, that kept the good kids here. The only reason why they were over here, she says, is because of the extra stuff. They all knew. I'm going back a little bit so you guys have an idea what we're talking about. Everybody knew that we had, academics. We had the academics. There's no question about it. But it was from sports down to fine arts to drama. I don't know if you guys ever gone to a drama thing. You don't have to go to Broadway because, really, and I'm not saying that because I was a part of that since 1977. Okay? You have professional people running these things. It's not here. And that was the other thing. people were moved when they were not doing their job back in those days. I just want to say that, but the commitment was there, the kids were there, the expectation was higher. It wasn't low. I was told, and we'll just leave by that, well, you guys are too hard on the kids. What do you mean we're too hard on the kids? I said, expectation. Well, the kids are there. No, I don't understand where you are. You're supposed to come back here and you're supposed to be prepared. This is a class, and when you try to teach them, you're walking late for college and that sort of stuff. And, that whole thing. We lost that. And now, Becky is trying to put things together. I mean, she came from West Junior High, never taught at Brockton High School, but she's doing a good job. She asks questions. And I come in and volunteer on Mondays a little bit. I work with kids. I get them horns. There's plenty of instruments. I bought a ton of instruments. I was here for 50 years running this thing. And Brockton High School, as what's his name? Ken Feinberg. If you guys know who Ken Feinberg, am I referring to Ken? Called this place the arts. The jewel of the city. That's from Ken. And it was like that. We were known all over the place. And I'm not just pushing, I'm just not pushing, like everything, football, the whole caboodle. But somewhere down the line, we dropped the things in the kids, and they just, listen, kids will give you whatever you give them, you expect from them. I always used to say, you got a B plus, right? A B minus. Why can't you get a B plus? Well, you got an A minus. Go for the A. You never know. We pushed on them. So let me just give you a couple of things. So the other thing too is not everybody's a football player. Nobody's over there. Let's go into the musician. What this school systems gave. 5 of the finest trumpet players in this country came from Brockton High School. The first trumpet player for St. Louis Symphony is Karen Bliznick. I mean, we're talking about high quality stuff. We're not talking about some Joe Yokas. John Dante, Singapore, principal trumpet player. And on and on and on. Brian Scanlon, Walt Disney, and all the other company. Also, people, CEOs, the top surgeon right now went to Brockton High School. I still remember. Eric Rubin. Absent-minded as heck, but he is the head of pediatrics in this entire, in this country, and more and more and more. And the whole thing that held them together, this is what they did. A great brain program. And I think that's so important. And when I say we have lost it, even the other stuff. Here's how we worked it out, and I'll try to keep it really quick. What we did when the whole school system was together. I think the worst thing that happened to the school system is when site-based management came in. Yeah, whatever you want to, you name your what do you call them, the mascot, that's fine, but you got to have a central thing. We were directors. I was a director. Finally, people were making directions. Wait a minute, who knows more about this? You, who just was a gym teacher sometime, and now you're over there, or me, who's supposed to be running this department? I talked to Superintendent Nimberco. I says, who's running these programs here? He says, you do. Of course, unfortunately, once he was going to start to do that, he left. And everybody got straight out. The committee that came in to give us our, whatever it was out there, said, Brockton High School is an island among our little islands floating all over the place. Equality went down a drain. Why is it that West Junior High was getting 3 days or 45 minutes a week? 45. And North Junior High was only getting 20 minutes. This is the way it was. You talk about it, and it's totally unfair. That's because everybody went out their own thing. If you like music, you got more music. If you like sports, you got more sports. No, And then you got these kids coming up at all different levels. We had a great feed system. By the way, our marching band was about 180. Okay, I put 140 kids in that band room. I had them hanging from the windows. Seriously. I mean, we were drawing, and by the way, we were drawing because we were giving them a great program, and the parents were pushing. That's the other thing. You had great parent support. My boosters were like 80, 90 people. Now we have, I don't know what, because I've lost it. And they were there, and they were guided. We don't have that anymore, so that's not anybody's fault and so on. Then the other thing is hiring, who you're hiring. When you got a great staff that works together, and so on. But when you got people spread out all over the place, we're traveling more than we're spending in a classroom. So the way we did it, and I know I'm here at the last, is I assign you at West Junior High, if you're going to do the middle school, and you went there from 7:30 in the morning to 8:45 or 8:30, and you did band and chorus right at the beginning. And it worked for 30 years. Nobody flunked math. The kids were always, scholastically they were up top. Then what you do is I would assign you, and by the way, this will cut you to, I only had four teachers. I took care of the whole city. Well, 5 or 6 more with instrumental wise. So what happened, I would put you at the Hancock School and at the Kennedy School, because those kids, they're going to come down. You're going to have in the elementary school. They're going to come down with you through junior high and then back to the high school, and vice versa. So the way it's set up, I set you up at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I told them, everybody, after the 30 years, everybody's blaming the whole world. I don't know how many times they blame the band. Well, it's the band that's really, it's a 20-minute lesson once a week. That's the reason why the kids are not doing good, in math. So what happened, you started at 9 o'clock, you came in at 9:30, you come in at 10. Then the next week, you come in at 10, at 9:30. The week after that, you come in at 10 o'clock. The week after that, you go in up there. So you would miss 20 minutes of math or whatever your first subject was. We went up, say, almost 2.5 months. You're going to come and tell me because you missed those 20 minutes in 2.5 months that this is the reason why the kids were flunking. No, they were coming in, and if it was done correctly, they were doing a lot of math with the music when you were talking about doing up there. Why, the head of the admissions office, we played in Boston for the head of the admission. People from all over the United States came in, at top colleges, and they were handing out things to our kids. And I said, why are you doing that? He goes, are you kidding me? He says, good college love band kids because of what it does to them. And the other thing too is, why is it in an Asian country everybody has to take music? Do they know something we don't know? You have to, because it's the closest thing on what we try to do to kids. Focus, discipline, process, math, multitask. When a kid picks up a trumpet, a lot of people don't know about this thing. That kid's doing 6 things at once. Their whole speed, their whole process, and about their reading. Why do they go ahead? Because it is an art that absolutely the brain, they come out of there, and it's the art that uses the entire brain. And it's been known that music builds characters and so on. But the discipline and the focusing on it and the multitasking that you're really doing. Every kid that I see today puts down, Karina, and says, this is what saved me. That's what saved. We had those kids. The kids that went to top-notch Ivy schools. They were all in there. They all came out of there, no matter who they look like, what they look like. But when they walked in there, we talk about teaching, I expected high maintenance. And we did. We got invited to the Rose Bowl parade. We went to Europe for 2 weeks. We got invited to the jazz festival in Montreux, Switzerland. We played for the UN in Switzerland. Toured Europe twice. Got invited to be one out of 4 bands in the United States to be asked to go to this convention. This is the level that we had going up there. We lost it when we started dilly-dallying. You can't have music, just like you can't have physics or science, 20 minutes once a week? And you expect things to happen? So that's how we did it. And it was smooth as oil. And then people came in, they started breaking it up. Oh, we want this in the morning. What's wrong? We've had it for 30 years. It's working perfect. Well, we got to change. We got to do, and it got worse. Then they went back to the beginning. I says, why don't you guys just listen to what we're supposed to do? So that's how we got here. I hope that everybody comes back. It takes a long time to bring quality stuff. You just don't give a kid an instrument in 9th grade and you expect that kid's going to be a Louis Armstrong in next day. No, it's not the way it works. It takes practice and again, the discipline and time. And there's got to be everybody having the same thing. Everybody should have the same thing. Other people do it. Taunton is doing great. They're pulling kids left and right in there. Some of the big cities, they're coming in here. They're working it out there. I don't think that what I said, what we did, could work, but it can go around. It can go around. That only costs. We spend more money during COVID. You didn't need those teachers. Yeah, you didn't need all those teachers because everybody was staying there, and then I left. I got changed, and I saw things. It goes, okay, 50 years is enough. I said, I would come back for another 20, but I grew up here. That's basically. I never went anywhere. I saw these buildings being built. I can tell you where all the water comes in, and I can tell you why the water's coming in, because everybody comes in and says, we can fix that. And that was 20 years after, we can fix that. So anything you want to know about how things happen. But I'll tell you, the 70s, it was a zoo. I mean, literally, you let them all go. You got all these kids, let them go. But eventually, we calmed down everything. No smoking, no hats, no this, because everybody got together and get your butt in school on time. And you know what? It worked. You just got to kind of force them a little bit to do it. But it really essentially is the time. You can have all these pretty things going all over the place, but the time for a teacher to go out there and work is the big problem, and scheduling. That's just what I say. But I wanted to bring that up there because there's some incredible musicians roaming all over this country. They came out of the school. I mean, literally, they're up there. But we had the guns and the means for them. Like you said, when we went out there, it was a 250-piece ensemble marching, right, with all the other kids we had. Nobody quit. Nobody quit the band. Nobody went up there. I was pretty good because I allowed people to go and mix and do some sports, that sort of stuff. But these things are extremely important, especially to the bright kids who might not be going over there. And that's how that's how why the kids leave. So I just brought that a little. I don't know if you guys, there's no question on it, but just whatever.
I will tell you this, that I was lucky enough to play for Armin Colombo and listen to Vinnie Macrina. I think that that we should always look back and see what worked, and because
check it out.
The standards are the standards, and I agree 100% that we should raise these standards back up, and it is something that I've pushed for and I will continue to push for. With that, I want to ask the committee, is there any questions? Ms. Oliver?
Not so much question, but thank you for the history. I appreciate that. And
I think if somebody knows what, you know, like this theater here with Bobby there. That's professional people running that stuff. I mean, I played in theaters when I was young. I performed. I got the South Shore Music. I was in Boston, and they can't come up with the sets and the things up there. People. And by the way, our Christmas concert, we had to do it 2 nights. 1,400 people. Joe Beige came over and goes, "Yeah, you got to have 2 nights. You got to have 2 nights." But Joe, you got to pay. I says, "We got to pay the cost." Joe, come on. You worry about that, you right? Typical Joe. He actually was out there handing out there. I started with a band of 40. And the people that were coming to a holiday concert, we actually were doing it 2 nights. I had to go out there. 1,200 people on that. Who pulls that on? And this was a great thing for the community, especially with the elderly people coming down. They don't have to go to Boston, I said. We can just come right over here for $2. It's the best deal. That's how much people came down. And but we were giving them a level stuff. They came in and hearing these kids playing college music and stuff like that. It was, that was totally unbelievable. But sometimes they should go back and find out, okay, this is what we did. And sometimes new people come in, should go back and see the historical things or what this means. And I think they would be better instead of start changing this, changing that. I could throw this out. Wait a minute. What do you mean you're going to change? You didn't even know about the program.
And I think that's what the problem is. I think a lot of people did not go and like look at the history, how it was built and how it was kept. And I think a lot of like mismanagement and decision that was made post-COVID end up like being detrimental to the music department. And for you to take it out of 4th grade and starting in elementary, it's doing a disservice to our students to start in 6th grade. I think that's something I've always fought, and I was not happy at the fact that they did that. Sorry. And I'm like talking in there. But I think that's something like even during COVID, watching my daughter play her saxophone through the classes through computer, it was at the beginning I was like, oh my God, my ears are starting to hurt me. I can't deal with this. But now when she plays, I love when she plays in the home because it's almost like a relaxing time for me in the home, and for her to achieve what she's achieving now since like 4th grade. Yeah. And she's also on the band and also the marching band, and she loves it. That's something she always wanted to do. Once she started in 4th grade, this is what she looked up to, want to be there.
And if she goes to college, this is what I tell them about that. First of all, the band doesn't throw anybody out. There are no bench warmers. I can go out there with 200 kids. Everybody can play, so that's the other stuff. So you're spending all that money. Okay, you're not spending for 11 kids, 6 kids, and I mean, I'm not knocking basketball, so that's what it is. But you can put a band of 250 kids in there, and everybody will be playing out there. Money well spent. Yeah. And when they go to college, immediate. Join that band, you got 200 friends. And that's what they love it. I'm in a band, and they go up there, and all of a sudden they're meeting this, they're meeting that, and the kids, the kids just, it's a great place that they're doing something with it that everybody else there is up there. Yeah, and then they go into the trip, then they don't even want to talk to you guys anymore.
I think it's definitely something when they do like the college band day, we should all go. I did go this year at UMass Amherst, and just to see all the band from all over Massachusetts being there, and then the Massachusetts Amherst band played, it was phenomenal. It was unbelievable, and I think our students were so happy to be up there, and they performed and they were dancing on the field, and it was great. I think it's something we definitely should go watch them wherever what college they end up going this year.
You're right.
But I think it's something that we definitely should go back to the standards that we had in the past, see how we can improve the our music department and our band, because I think the numbers has gone down. I think it's like probably 150 compared to what it was in the past, but I think it's like something we really have to work as a team, as a committee, to really put it out there as our expectation, like where we want it moving forward.
For someone like us, you have to get someone who's passionate to teach.
Yes.
You see these people in here, they're like Bobby. Bobby came in from Brockton. He grew up. Carol Thomas taught here forever. She's still coming to help out. Okay, Elaine Kelly, all of the alumnus come in. The passion is, if the passion's not there, you just getting out there, and you got to know how to treat kids. You got to know how to treat kids, because remember, before Belichick, those guys were having a joke, right? Here comes Belichick, and what happens? He puts it down, and guess what? Discipline, structure, preparation. Okay, why don't you do your own? Well, you have discipline. What do you think the college professor's going to do? You're going to walk in there with that, he's going to close the door by 7 o'clock. You're always late. And they come back and tell you all these stories. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's what's like. And this place has always been the same. You always have that small group that's just going to ruin it for everybody else. This is what you do. Nothing has changed there. But the kids are pretty good, I guess, what we're doing. And these kids are trying. It's just to do that. So, and you're right. And I'll stop. And
Ms. Centeo?
The history thing part. Come in here, stop it. Sakowitz used to say, new teachers that come in. You don't know Brockton. You don't know the high school at all, she said. You talk about a principal and directions. I mean, she was focused on, she'll come in first, academics. Second, your grades. Okay, well, we got a football game and the quarterback's flunking. Well, you can come and sit in the stands with me. That's what she would say. That's it. That was it. And she would support everything. Which part of no you didn't understand? And that was a dynamite person. That's when that 10th year, I mean, we were New York Times, Brockton High School, on the front page of New York Times. Why? Again, it really is important who's running the team. I just call it a team. All right.
Ms. Centeo?
Thank you. This feels very conversational. I feel like I'm just sitting here and just listening, so I appreciate the history. I'm here asking for advice. So one of the things that I am hearing from when I visit the schools is the lack of family engagement.
Right.
You mentioned that when you was doing the band, you had to add 2 days because families was more involved, or I'm not sure. There was more parents then to attend, to cheer on the kids. Sorry. My question for you is, how can we as a committee support, or what do we need to say to make sure that we encourage parents to be more involved? Because I feel like that has decreased significantly.
Decreased a great deal.
And as a school committee, I am trying to do different things in the community.
Good.
And also to educate families that we do have a voice. We have the power to make some changes, but the problem is we're not showing up. What is your advice for us as a district, but also as a school committee? How can we encourage the families to be more involved?
Well, it's kind of tough, you got to go to this thing, there's time, there's work, and everybody worked before, and so on. But we do 2 concerts a year. Can you just set it up and just come? Or once in a while, come and help out. We try to pull people to come in. I think we're going through a period where, Save Our Sports. There'll be a huge group of people, right? And now here. I mean, I would give a lesson. Sometimes I gave a lesson. A new kid would come and see me, and the kid's standing over there, and say, "What are you doing?" I was supposed to take a lesson. With who? I don't know. The mother just dropped the kid out there. So she's in the car, and he just dropped the kid. Now, in the olden days, child and the mother and the father, whoever they come in, "Hi, Mr. McCrean, I want to see how you're doing. What can we do? What can we do?" And you follow up and say, "What can we do to help you out? This and that." And that's the way it was. This kid, I had to go outside. And the lady, the person, unfortunately, she's out there with a phone and talking. Meantime, she doesn't even know where the kid went. And how about me? Who's this guy? It's this monster out there or something like that, right? that part is very difficult for us to do that. I never charged more than like $2. That's all I charge. Well, I figure that, you know, things will play through the budgets, you know, so why charge? It's just a $2 fee. If you didn't have them, don't worry about it. Little kids come in, don't worry about it. So we never really charge. Everybody used to come over here. You got to charge more. You got to charge more. You got to charge more. But by doing that, we did charge more. Some people were doing $5 and so on. So they can't say that it's too expensive. And we used to usually tell the kids, listen, don't worry about it. If you can't hear, just come in. But somehow we went through this change of people not participating, whether it's baseball, sports, little league. They can't find enough umpires, you know, that sort of stuff. I don't know how I can do that. I think it was the time that out there. I used to send letters, you know, please help out, you know, especially when we did the fundraisers. We did fundraisers, you know. I fundraised with the boosters. I raised $65,000 brand new uniforms. Those uniforms, the bands up there, that was donated by the Brockton public. We got 60. I bought 170 uniforms. It cost me $65,000. Then it'll probably be $270,000 right now. Yeah, so we had that. So I don't. You know, it's really hard. You can't. I guess sometimes you can't force people like that. Every time I told them, don't forget to come to the concert, you know, all this. The kids go home, sign it, they come back with a paper sign. So that's all I could say.
Anybody else? Mr. Rodriguez?
Thank you for that nice history. You know, when we always say, you know, how do we get back? And, you know, when did we lose it? You know, when did it started to kind of dwindle down? I mean, we could always, you know, I speak to when we talk about athletics. When I came on this board, I said it from day one, you know, how can we get back that box of pride?
Yeah.
You know, we were feared. We were feared in football. Like, we couldn't fill a schedule. We had to go out of state. And, you know,
I remember
the music program, the band, like, there are people that come to the game just to watch the band. Like, people need to realize that there's, you know, they come just to watch that. And, you know, it's just like, you know, how can we fix it? You know, we don't want to say like get back to it. Like, we want to say get back to it, but like, how can we fix it to make sure that it grows? And the other thing too is that, you know, when it comes to, like, you can't force a child. I mean, we always want to say, oh, I want you to do this, do that. But it's music, you know, everybody listens to music. That's one thing. Like, everybody listens to music, but it's just like, how is that music made? Who's playing what instrument? And just to see, like, the students, you know, starting at a very young age. My daughter, you know, piano lessons, and still plays to this day. And my son's trying to.
And she would, when she gets older, she said, absolutely, you know what, I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I did this. And I have a count out here, like 642 kids in all my years I've been there. That all, once I saw them growing up, they all come back and they would say, you should never have quit. You should never. And I keep a count. 692 of them, you know? Yeah, because then they'll pick up the guitar or something like that.
No, it's interesting. I was at a conference this weekend during the keynote speakers. These are students, bands from high school that are performing, and you're thinking that you're at a concert with the way that they play, and they're on a national stage, going out there, and hopefully I can advocate for Brockton to go to the one next year to play, so they could be showcased.
Yeah, we've had a lot. Yeah, we've had at the time we had a lot of kids that went to. As a matter of fact, one year, the jazz band, the All-State Jazz Band, it's 20 people, right? 15 of them were from Brockton. 15 players were from Brockton, and all these guys now are making millions of dollars. Don't forget your teacher, I keep on telling them. I'm not kidding you. And one of them is my therapist. They all went well, and they just, it was, he said, was your drive. I remember you giving me a lesson. You said, blow out that door out there if there is. He goes, and I know, I just could feel it right now. And that was the other thing I kept saying. You got to motivate a coach, and you got to coach the kids like. Once those kids like, they'll do anything for you. They'll do anything. Raise the bar, help you out. And then, you know what? The bad apple? Sorry, kid. I gave you 15 chances. Not one, not two, not three. Okay, you're bugging me here. Get out of here. After a while, you got to save, I'm not going to ruin a classroom for which sometimes I understand. You get inside there. You're allowed 1 or 2 kids. And that's another story because, what happened? Teachers should be coming in to teach, not to get spit at and yelling. That's what I'm talking. You got to stop that. And we did that. You just bumped a teacher in up there. Zach Woods will have you right out of here. And the guys before that, Miller, they were scared the heck out of him. You just don't do that. You know what I mean? I have cousins in Italy, the teachers. Are you kidding me? The respect that they have, professore. My father introduced me. I say, "This is my son." Oh, professore, a teacher. I mean, they think, and they came by and they would do that. Here, not here. Just what have we done here? Kids come out there, tell you where to go, and this. No wonder a lot of people leave. Who wants to hear that stuff? And that's got to stop. I mean, I've actually seen kids here come back and say nasty things to teachers, and then what do you do something like that? That should never happen. It won't happen to me in my class because there's your door. Yeah. But it works. It works. You're right. It works.
It'll be interesting to see like the data versus prior to moving the time slots and when they were offering it versus now. Because looking at the report card, I think it dropped versus it actually rising. So that right there could just indicate that the music changing that time didn't have no effect on it at all.
And you said that was in 2010 they switched that?
Around 2010, the kids started slowing down, and everybody was, everybody was doing their own thing. This is what was happening here. Everybody was, South Junior High was doing their thing, West Junior High was doing their thing. The guys, one guy's no ringing any bells. All of a sudden, there's no bells. What do you mean there's no bells? No bells. Just leave whenever you want to. I'm not kidding you. I won't say where it is and so on. So then you go to, say, another junior high, and so you got all these different concepts that we have to shovel inside like a funnel, but not all pretty much alike.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because, it's when I'm looking at the football program, it should be the same from the top all the way down, and it's very similar whether it's music or I would say even discipline-wise. I've always said that this district has misread DESE's guidance and that they have misunderstood and misinterpreted the discipline policies, and that's for a different subcommittee, but I don't think social justice or restorative justice has worked at all. But that is obviously my
Well, and you feel bad, you do this, everybody says, well, this isn't so. Okay, but you got a class of 25, you got 2 kids that every day the teacher's got to put up with these kids. What about the other people? We're always worrying so much about the one that's creating every day. He's just late, they're late and coming over there. What about the other people that you just sit there? That's not fair. You have a right to education. That's what I tell all the kids. But you don't have a right to come in my classroom and disrupt the other kids who get an education. And we got away from that.
Anybody else?
That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Macrina. Again, thank you very much.
I just, I think when people understand something, what it was, they will understand something better. And like I said, what Zach would say to the teachers, You come 24, you go to your class and you go to 24. You haven't got no clue what goes on in the afternoon. Never been to a football game? Have you ever gone to a football game? Have you gone to a play? Have you ever gone to the concert and see the other side of the good kids that are going on? She was right on the money.
Yeah.
They come in, they go there, and they're gone. That's part of the other thing too. The early years, people lived there, they were attached to it, they went to the school. So like, we have a feeling about that. This is where we went, you know? Like, what? And I always want to say a thing about the drama club, you know. I don't have to tell you, that thing is insane and amazing. Everybody in the world knows about these guys.
Yeah.
So that, I know we talk about the art and there, but he has brought Broadway in a professional concept, Bobby, and Bob and his staff. A lot of kids going in, they're loving it. 100 kids on stage one year. 100 kids.
And we hear them all the time over here, believe me.
They're getting ready. I think this year I'm going to enjoy that because I'm going to come back and get a chance to conduct the pit orchestra. So, yeah,
Awesome.
last time I did that, it was in New York.
Thank you again, and
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you.
hopefully we'll see you again soon when we dedicate the stage.
Now, what is that?
We'll reach out to you and let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I know. I heard rumors, so I didn't.
Yeah.
You know, and it will. Yes. Okay. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very much. Yep.
All right, moving on to the next agenda, old business. We will now move to old business. Is there any old business to come before the subcommittee? Seeing none, moving on to the next item, new business. Is there any new business to come before the subcommittee?
Yes.
Miss,
If we can, just to piggyback now from like the drama club, to put them on the next agenda, have Mr. Hogan come and speak about the high school drama club. I think it's something that we definitely need to see how we can support them with all the changes that's happened in the past year, and basically see what they've done, what they've been doing. They have over like 300 students. I'm sorry, he's coming again. Students for the drama club, and I think that's something we definitely need to look at and put it on the next agenda. We didn't have a time to do it this agenda, but definitely this is going to be going soon on the billboard outside. And our own student created this poster, Axel Sanford. So I can't wait for the Chicago, and it's going to be again May 15, 16, and the 17. The tickets are $15, and it's going to go to the drama club. And I think it's something that definitely we should come out and support. Definitely will be there to watch the Chicago. So definitely put them on the agenda for next time and have Mr. Hogan come and speak. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any new business? Seeing none, is there any further business? If none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seeing there's a motion and a duly seconded, I will take roll call for that. Ms. Centeo.
Here.
Ms. Oliver.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
And myself, unanimous, and we are now adjourned.